Okay, and we're live. Let people join in. While we wait for everyone to come in, I'm going to start us off with a little poll here. The question is, what motivates you to improve your skills? A lot of passion for dogs. Okay, that's good. Some personal satisfaction, some career development. Very cool. And then one more poll here before we start the event. Are you confident in telling the difference between a scared dog and a happy dog? Okay, majority people think yes. We'll see if that changes after the event, Susan.
Write their names down so that
Yeah.
we'll test.
Okay, so some yes, some no, but majority people are confident. All right. Okay, so I just want to welcome everyone into the webinar. It is 6:02, so I think people who are joining us should all be in here by now. And if you aren't able to make the full webinar, if you're going to be coming late, there's going to be a replay link that's sent out to all the registrants, and it'll also be in the virtual community. So, and if you aren't in any of these, or if you didn't receive it, you could reach out to us and we could email it over to you. I just wanted to welcome everyone. We've been doing these online events, and it seems to be doing really well with students. I'm getting a lot of positive feedback. If you have any suggestions, you could always email us ideas or topics that you want covered, or you could also leave them in the chat. If you have like specific things that you'd want a detailed live event coverage from Susan. So I'm really excited about this. I want to kind of talk about why we chose understanding dog behavior. Firstly, Susan obviously is helped me choose this topic, and it's an interesting topic, I think, for all students in dog grooming, dog daycare, dog training, just because it's an important topic to understand in any of these fields. It's going to help you when you're starting to work with clients to see, to be able to quickly assess whether it's safe to work with this dog or not. I'd like to welcome Susan, obviously our speaker for today. Welcome, Susan. And maybe if you could give just a brief introduction to you and who you are. And
I don't do anything briefly.
Take your time then, Susan.
So just to reiterate what Malcolm was saying, welcome. And if you are back for your second webinar, again, thank you. And those of you who weren't here for the first one, why weren't you here for the first one? No, I'm kidding. So I was a grade 8 art teacher for 30 some odd years. I started when I was 6. I took early retirement in order to focus on my search and rescue work and on tracking. As you know, I'm one of QC's tutor, and I do online teaching for Kim's training school. I have my own business teaching tracking, and I have done so for the last 15 years or so. I've been in search and rescue for 22 years. I have 2 Malinois. One is in live find, and the other works in human remains detection. And I completed the dog trainer course and the behavior modification consultant course through Kim. And I think you all know who I'm talking about when I say Kim.
And for those who don't know, could you tell us a little bit about Kim quickly?
So every time you watch a video, you are watching Kim. Okay,
yes. So thank you for the introduction, Susan. So basically, the event is going to be a presentation on understanding dog body language. There's lots of awesome video content, and Susan's going to be talking on some interesting topics for me for sure. After the presentation, there's going to be a quick Q&A. And for those who stick around, we have a special offer for you. So I would recommend that you stick around to the end. So without further ado, let's get started. I'm going to pull up Susan's presentation. Oh. Okay, sorry about this.
Good help is so hard to find.
Let me restart this here. Okay, sorry about that. All right.
There we go.
Okay, so we should see understanding canine body language. I'll let Susan take it from here.
How to speak dog. I love that. So when trying to understand people, nonverbal communication is just part of the understanding of someone. But with dogs, body language is everything. To understand dog body language, it includes looking at the body posture as well as facial expressions, and this will help you gain a deeper understanding of a dog's emotional state as well as overall comfort level. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at 3 emotional states. We're going to look at calm, happy. We're going to look at stressed, anxious, and we're going to look at aggressive. So I just want to explain a little bit of my rationale as to how we're going to work with these 3 different emotional states. It would make sense that we start with the calm, we move to the stressed, and we end with the aggressive. But we're going to look at it a little bit differently. We're going to start with calm, and then we're going to move on to aggressive, and we're going to end with the stressed, anxious dog. The reason being, most of us can easily recognize a dog who is happy. And when one shows up at our door, be it the door to a training center, a dog groomer, a doggy daycare, we all recognize when a happy dog is walking through and into a room. The same goes for the aggressive dog. If somebody shows up and they have a dog who is overtly aggressive, obviously you're probably not going to welcome that dog into your facility, into your center. Those signals are also pretty straightforward. Where we get into a really muddy area would be our stressed, anxious dogs. So I hope that makes sense. So we're going to start with our happy, our content dogs. And Malcolm, am I doing next or are you doing next?
I could take care of the next if you just let me know.
Okay. Okay, so take a look at this picture, and what do you see? Because I can't hear you, because I can't talk to you, I can't even see you, I just want you to type in the chat section some of the things that you see on the faces and in the body language of the 9 dogs that we have in front of us.
So an example would be you see the ears perked up, for example. Just take a second. We'll give 30 seconds to the chat. I see Kelly mentioned relaxed, smiling.
Yeah.
This is definitely what we're looking for.
Absolutely.
Happy, content, excited. Yep.
Yeah. Now start to get a little deeper and look at the body language. Yes, they look happy, but what about them makes them look happy?
I see some playful, happy, but yeah, like just we'll give you another 20 seconds here. Specifically, like what are you seeing in the physical posture? Okay, so play stance, yes. Mm-hmm. Hair down, tail relaxed.
Yeah.
Bowing.
Play bow, yeah.
Ears up, open mouth.
Yes.
Neutral ears.
That's a biggie.
Playful stance, sitting calm, sitting and paying attention, smile.
Yes.
And body language. Okay, I think we got a lot of good ones in here.
Yeah, absolutely. So the open mouth and the smile, that's always a big one. So if you could change the slide, Malcolm. When you see a happy dog, you're going to be looking at an overall relaxed body position and a softness to them. Relaxed body position, relaxed posture. A happy, content dog will appear physically relaxed and soft. A play bow is a clear sign that a dog is happy and is trying to initiate play. Dogs that are playing with each other or with you often display bouncy movements. If two or more dogs are playing together and exhibit loud growls and barks and mouthing, the dog's overall body language still remains soft. There's no stiffness to it. The dog's ears are going to be relaxed. They're not going to be pressed back against the head. The dog's tail, mouth, eyes, ears are all going to be relaxed. They're all going to be soft. Happy dogs may be observing the world around them, but they don't appear to be hyper-focused. And no part of the body is tense. We've all seen this body position from dogs. And very often the relaxed dog may lean into you while you're petting them. So we're going to show you a video, and I don't know, this video certainly doesn't need a disclaimer, but I am going to warn you ahead of time that some of the videos that we're going to show you tonight, some may become uncomfortable, and I or Malcolm will certainly give you a heads up if we're going to be watching one that you may choose to turn your back on, but the happy one isn't one of those. Okay, so this is happy body language.
We all want maximum happiness for our dog, but how can we know if they're happy? While many of us simply think a wagging tail means happiness in dogs, our canine companions have many different ways of conveying their emotions, one of the most important being body language.
Okay.
This is why Animal Wise provides the 10 key body language signs which show your dog is happy. Invitation to play. Rarely can one be as sure a dog is happy as when we see them play. The inviting pose is when the dog raises the back of their body while lowering the front and gazing at another dog or their guardian. They make small quick movements until the other starts to play too, launching themselves to run or to chase a ball.
So what are we seeing here? This is invitation to play. This is the dog willing to play.
They lean on you. Has your dog ever leant on you?
Can you hear me, Susan?
This is a clear indication that they love you and like to be by your side.
Music.
In other words, your dog is happy to be with you.
Sorry.
There we go. There we go. So there's that leaning.
Another
leaning
posture of
into
almost
when
absolute
you're
happiness
petting them.
is when
And
the dog
again,
lies on their
although
back
the
on
tail
grass
might
or
look
sand
a little
and
bit
begins to
stiff,
roll in
that body
ecstasy.
language is
This
still
helps
nice,
to cool off
rolling
in
on
hot
the
weather
grass. I mean,
and
come
attracts
on.
the attention of
That's
their
just
tutor.
that's just sheer joy right there.
Your dog
Especially
lies
if
on their
there's, like,
side.
cow poo
This is a
underneath or
classic
something.
sign that shows the dog is comfortable
You've
and
got
happy.
a little bit of mouthing
Also,
going
did you know
on,
that the
but
postures
it's
your
all
dog
done in
takes when
play.
sleeping
And look how
can reveal a
soft
lot
this
about their
little one
mood?
is. Oh my gosh.
Here we share another video about the positions of the dog
Until
when
the ball
sleeping
rolls
and their
into you.
meanings.
Lovely body language.
Excitement
here.
to go out for a walk.
Dogs on their sides.
If you live with a
really
dog,
soft.
you will know that they cannot
There's
contain their
no other
excitement
words
when they
other than
realize they're about to
relaxed
go on
and
a walk.
soft.
There's no doubt they are happy and are practically anxious to get outdoors.
Right, and there's that
Lying
focus
face
on
up.
the world around them.
When a dog
and
sleeps
yet
in this
they're not
position, it means they are very
hyper-vigilant
comfortable
about
with
the
their
whole thing.
surroundings.
Someone
Therefore,
mentioned
they rest
open mouth and
nonchalantly,
smiling.
exposing their most vulnerable
there's a goofy
parts.
boy, if ever there was
Without a
one.
doubt, they only show this
That
position when
open
their
mouth
state of
and
well-being and
smiling
tranquility
is
is
always
excellent.
going to be a good indicator.
Your dog
for you.
smiles.
A dog exposing their belly like that is also going to be a good sign.
Sorry, we're having issues with the sound. I think it was still playing on the student side for some reason. So we'll just take a pause and go back to the presentation.
So my pearls of wisdom were not heard. Is that what you're telling me?
It sounds like it. You can let us know in the chat. We can't hear you well with the video playing. Yeah, sorry. There seems to be an issue with the audio of the video.
Okay.
Okay.
So maybe I can talk at the end of the video.
Yeah, we'll do that for the next one.
Okay. So we'll go on to the next one. The next slide, please.
Are you able to see? It should say aggressive dogs on your end.
I can't see it, no, but if everyone
Okay.
else can.
Yeah, it should say aggressive dogs as a slide. Maybe Susan, if you want to take a second to refresh your screen. There we go. Susan, are you able to see
And
it?
she's back. There we go. Okay, I have aggressive dogs and a bunch of bullets.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. I mean, just look at that little terrier. There is no denying that that dog is upset about something. So as I said, we're going from one extreme to the other. So we'll talk about aggressive dogs. So aggressive dog behavior is such a complicated topic. It is typically a sign of fear. Aggression is a natural fight or flight act for dogs that feel they have no other way to respond, no alternative way to respond. And aggressive behavior is generally the result of a dog being put into a position that is overwhelming, scary, or otherwise uncomfortable for them. So think about a dog going into a grooming salon for the very first time. Right? There's that overwhelmingly scary, uncomfortable position for a lot of those dogs. No one dog breed is inherently aggressive. Individual breed traits can influence reaction or reactivity. Some breeds are more driven to chase prey, guard stock, herd, that kind of thing. Signs of aggression or that an aggressive behavior could happen are because the dog is agitated or uncomfortable, and it stems from fear. And you really need to remember that it does stem from fear. A high wagging tail accompanied by stiff movements. So just because the tail is wagging doesn't mean the dog is happy. You're going to get a narrowing of the eyes, a hard stare, raised hackles. They may shift their weight back and almost look like they're leaning back, but in preparation to pounce. A dog that has its weight shifted back and is lunging forward, that can be a sign that the dog is really uncomfortable and that it could escalate. And the thing is, with it escalating, it can escalate in the blink of an eye. Dogs that are about to behave aggressively are likely to be hard staring and fixated. And if you've ever had a dog give you a hard stare, you will always remember it because it is very intimidating. The dogs may be growling. They could have their teeth bared. They could have their lips curled. A dog's hackles may be raised, also known as piloerection. This happens automatically when aroused, similar to how people might get goosebumps. Although raised hackles are a symptom of a dog being highly aroused, raised hackles alone don't necessarily mean that the dog is going to behave aggressively. All right? Also remember that. Piloerection does not mean that the dog is about to go. So we've got several categories that we're just going to briefly touch on in regards to aggression. We have territorial aggression, and any of you who are taking the behavior consultant course, some of this is going to be familiar to you. Aggressive displays can range from growling and barking to lunging, chasing, snapping, biting. These kinds of displays can occur at windows, doors, behind fences, in a car. If you see a dog snarling at you from inside a car, that's that territorial. Some dogs can quickly claim territory and show similar behavior at picnic areas, park benches, that kind of thing. So it doesn't have to be a territory that they actually live at or reside in or travel in, be it a car. It can be anything. They may decide that they're just going to plant a flag and this is their territory. We've got protective aggression. That's very similar to territorial. It's important to change the dog's perspective of people approaching when the dog is next to the pet owner, because that's typically when we're going to see that protective aggression. Possessive. This is the aggression that's directed towards humans or other pets that approach when the dog is in possession of something. So we might refer to it as resource guarding. It could be something that's highly desirable, and it doesn't, we can look at it and go, why on earth do you want that? And I'll give you an example in one sec. But it's usually something that's highly desirable. So it could be a chew toy, it could be food, it could be a person, it could be space, it could be air. It's crazy. So I just had a shift in my family with my dogs. I just recently said goodbye to my 17-and-a-half-year-old Malinois, and she was my first search and rescue dog. And she was always in charge of my group, always. And she was nicknamed the Play Police because she didn't tolerate any silliness. So now that she's gone, my youngest one has actually tried to take over as being in charge of the household. And she has always stolen stuff, and it doesn't matter what it is. And I actually plant stuff for her to steal. But once in a while, she will have something in her mouth, and she will growl if my other dog comes near her. And it's usually something silly like a dirty sock or a pair of dirty underwear that she pulled out of the laundry basket, like stuff that would just make, like, why are you growling, as if he wants that from you? But to her, this is a prized possession and no one is taking it from me. We have fear-based aggression. Fear or anxiety related aggression is perhaps the most common form of aggression that we're ever going to see. Early manifestations of fear-related aggression are typically defensive, displayed to increase the distance between the dog and the perceived threat. What they're trying to say is, stay away from me. And this can quickly become more offensive. Social aggression, that can be directed at people, it can be directed at other animals. The most common reason for dogs in the same family to fight with each other is instability in the social hierarchy, which is what my guys are going through right now. Social aggression may occur if there's a challenge to a higher ranking dog's social status, or to his control over a social interaction. So my girls have had some serious fights, and it's always been a social interaction. So it could be my youngest is playing with my male, and the old girl would step in and say, no, we don't play in the house. And that could start something. There's also defensive and offensive aggression. And we're going to talk about this a little bit more in a second or two. Defensive aggression will look like the dog is trying to shrink away. They're going to make themselves as small as possible. So you're going to see a tucked tail to protect their genitals and their belly. They're going to avert their gaze. They're going to look like they want to flee the situation, to get out of there as fast as they can. And if the dog can't flee, they'll be forced to fight. So think about that for 1 second. Those of you with doggy daycares and grooming salons and dog trainers, the dog comes in and they really don't want to be there. They're on lead. And the last thing that the owner is going to do is to let them do a 180 and leave, because we paid for this class, damn it, and we're going to have this class, even though the dog is giving signs of defensive aggression. If the dog can't flee and they are forced to fight, this is always going to be the most common type of aggression that you're going to see in dogs. You're going to see that defensive aggression. Offensive aggression is one heck of a scary thing if you're standing in front of that dog. That's when the dog is feeling the need to be assertive, and there's a forward motion. So the opposite being the defensive dog is trying to make themselves as small as possible. The offensive dog who is going into offensive aggression, they're going to make themselves appear as big as possible. So they almost go up on their tippy toes. There's a forward motion. Their ears, if they have prick ears especially, they're going to be pointing forward. Those hackles are going to be up. The tail might be raised. And everything is just in attempts to make themselves appear larger. Their chest is going to pop forward and their eyes are locked. And that's when you're going to get that hard stare. Okay, Malcolm, next one.
Awesome. Just a quick second. Shannon asked a question. Could
Yeah.
the hackles up also be over aroused?
Yes, 100%. Yeah, and I compare it to people getting goosebumps. Yeah, 100%. And that's just a part of the picture. Those hackles up, that's just a part of the picture when we're talking about an aggressive dog.
And for those who don't know, what are hackles?
Hackles is that ridge that runs along the spine of the dog's body, and they're also referred to as piloerection when the hackles go up, and it's involuntary. The dogs don't say, "I'm going to put my hackles up." It just happens. It just happens. Okay. So there are the different types that we were talking about, and you can see them just in form of a cartoonish kind of thing. There's your territorial. Your territorial is going to be happening at windows, can happen in the car, it can happen at doors, behind fences. Then you've got the protective. So here you've got what looks to be a mama dog with her pups. So absolutely that protective aggression can come into play when she's protecting her babies. But it also happens, and more commonly happens, when they're with their owner and they don't want you approaching their owner. Possessive, that compares to resource guarding, and this dog looks like it only has a stick, and yet it is saying, "Stay away, it's my stick." You've got your fear-based, and your fear-based is the most common form of aggression. And this is the one that you can see that white dog is making himself as tiny as he possibly can. So there's your defensive aggression. You've got social aggression, and that can be directed at people or it can be directed at other animals. And again, like what I was saying before, the most common reason for dogs in the same family to fight is that instability. It's when somebody please become boss, because I don't want to do it. And then you have the defensive, and the defensive one is where you're going to get the dog trying to be as small as they possibly can. They can't get away from the situation, and that's when it can truly escalate really quickly from defensive to offensive. So that's when they're going from as small as they possibly can be to as big as they possibly can be. And just on that note, before we change the slide, the same applies with dogs. Dogs that have a tail that comes up naturally and curls over their back. Think about an Akita. I can't think of any for some reason. Those dogs are always going to get picked on just because of that tail. It seems like they are in offensive stance and they're trying to make themselves look really big. And in fact, it's just the way their tail is. Okay, next one. Oh, okay. So that's pretty well what I was just saying. Sorry, Malcolm, I should have had to change to that one before. Okay. So there's just your quick rundown on everything. Oh, and you know what, guys and gals, I was saying to Malcolm, when we do this, I would hope that you're sitting there getting ready to do screenshot, because so much of this stuff, feel free to grab hold of it and refer to it and read it over again on your own time, so that you can really start to absorb it. Okay, next one. All right, so we had those 9 dogs where we were looking at the happy dogs. Now we're looking at dogs that have a completely different expression to them. These are not aggressive dogs. These are scared, stressed, anxious dogs. So where we had the soft eyes and the relaxed body language, what do you see in these ones? I throw it back to you folks.
Yeah, we'll give everyone 30 seconds here just to point out the specifics about what you see in the dog's body language. Licking.
Yeah, biggie.
Ears are back, tail is tucked.
Yeah.
See some panting.
Yeah.
Tucked tail, yep.
Yeah.
Not making eye contact.
100%. Good one.
The lips.
Yeah.
Worry, stress, eyes, position low.
Good.
Yeah, a lot of tail tuck.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Well, I think that's good enough.
Okay. Let's
go to the next slide.
Yeah. So we're going to watch a video. And this one, we were hoping that I would be able to circle some stuff for you, but Malcolm's computer and mine and everything just don't seem to work in sync. So what you're going to have the opportunity to do is pay attention to the scenario between, I believe, almost all of these, if not all, are children and a dog. And I want you to see if you can pick out some calming signals. So remember all of those things that you just said, that lip licking and looking away and tucked tails and all of that. See what kind of stuff you can find. It's going to show you, it's going to label it. See if you can notice what it is that they're referring to.
Yeah, and write it in the chat. Let us know in the chat.
Type away. You've got a stress yawn, you've got ears back, you've got that tongue flipping. You've got your ears back, tongue flick again. We refer to that as lip licking. Whale eye is when you see the whites of the dog's eyes. This is a child poking the dog in the eye for whatever reason, I don't know. That's an appeasement lick, not a love lick. Tense muscles, ears are back. Children climbing on dogs should just not happen. I'm sorry. The dog freezes. You've got lip licking. The dog lifting the paw is not because they want you to hold their paw. They are just trying to appease you and trying to make you go away. And I've lost the slideshow. Oh.
There we go. Yeah, just for the next video, it looks like the audio for some reason keeps playing. So we'll just not talk during
sorry, I forgot all that. Okay. So while the sound was playing, it's because I don't hear anything. I'm trying to think of all these pearls of wisdom that I said when it was playing. You see lip licking. So I think they were calling it a tongue flick. We refer to it as lip licking. You see whale eye when the whites of the eyes are showing. You were seeing ears back. All kinds of appeasement behavior in which the dog is just saying, I don't really like what you're doing and I wish you'd go away. And I also said, I really, really dislike it when I see children and dogs unattended and people allowing their dogs to become ponies. Children shouldn't ride dogs. And I'm sorry if I'm getting on a soapbox, and I'm hoping that you all agree and that none of you are offended. But they're not ponies, no matter how big they are. Okay.
Yeah. So we have a few comments just kind of going through what you said, Susan, but
yeah.
Eyes sort of droopy.
Yeah.
One is positioning away from the person.
Mm-hmm.
Some leaning back.
Good.
Ears back.
Good.
Stiff.
Yeah.
Whale eyes. They look very tense.
Yeah.
The dog is moving his head away from the child. So all good stuff here.
Yeah, and that little one that was sitting on the stairs and it showed a paw lift, that again is just an appeasement thing. It's just one of those, okay, I'll lift my paw and maybe that's going to make you go away. They're doing anything and everything for you to just give me some space. I'm just trying to calm you down. And it's stuff that we have calming signals as well as people. So we're going to talk about those in 1 second. Okay. Next one.
Sorry. There we go.
All right. So scared, stressed dogs. These, my friends, are the dogs that you are going to be seeing. These are the signs that you need to learn inside and out. It is a scary situation for a lot of dogs to go into a doggy daycare for the first time, to go into a groomer's for the first time, to go into training class for the first time, you need to be able to say, you know what, I don't know that this is the best time for your dog to be coming into class. They look like they're really stressed. Maybe go out in the parking lot and see if walking around is going to help. Maybe play a little bit outside, see if that's going to help. But you get a dog coming in like this one, giving that whale eye, and you know that what they're doing is they just want to be anywhere but where you're placing them. And so if it's a situation where you're handing the leash off to the trainer or to the groomer or to the doggy daycare person, you hand that leash off and the owner walks out the door. Now it's up to you. You are the one who's going to have to de-escalate the situation. Dogs who are stressed or fearful will often look as though they're trying to avoid something. So that's that turning of the head. They turn their head away and they avoid looking at you, or they avoid looking at what's upsetting them. They may also deflect or self-soothe by suddenly becoming interested in sniffing the ground. You'll often see dogs, let's say dogs who are sheep herding, when they are super stressed, they might start eating sheep poop. And all it is they are trying to self-soothe. You may see dogs who are stressed and they start eating grass. And again, it's just a self-soothe. Dogs that are feeling uncertain or anxious about a situation may randomly begin scratching or licking. Scared, stressed, anxious dogs can pace, they can cower, they can shake, they can tremble. I had one of my dogs, a big male Malinois who you'd think would be just as confident as can be. I had him at the vet's this morning, and all he did was pace and pace and pace and pace. And when the vet came in, I said, he's pretty stressed. Do you want me to muzzle him? You know, how do you want to proceed here? I knew he wouldn't. And I know we all say that, oh, my dog would never bite. Any dog will bite. But I was pretty confident that he was just stressed, and that if I helped him to get through it, that he would be okay. And that's a different scenario than me handing the leash to a vet tech and walking away. Right? Now you're going to get even more signs and symptoms to him. People can even mistake a dog rolling over as asking for a belly rub. And they're not. In reality, the dog is actually afraid. And at this point, some may involuntarily urinate. They could attempt to hide behind their owner. They could try to escape. A stressed dog is going to be yawning frequently. It's got nothing to do with fatigue. They're yawning. They are rounding their back. They may flatten their back. Their tail may be tucked. Some dogs get hyperactive. So how many of you have seen a dog that starts running around erratically? And we refer to it as, ha, 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 they have the zoomies. Well, for some dogs, they're super stressed. And it's just a way of blowing off that stored up stress that they have. They might look like they're having a great time, and some dogs are. I'm not saying all zoomies are stress related, but a lot of them are. The dog may be overwhelmed and trying to diffuse or avoid the situation that's making them feel uncomfortable. Dogs that are feeling stressed are likely to shake all over. It's a way of calming down or refocusing when a stressful situation is over. There's that lip licking that you all noticed. There's the yawning. Yawning is a calming, try and say that 3 times fast. A calming signal or a way to self-soothe. So lip licking. Lip licking is a common, oh, here I go again, a common calming signal. The lick with the tongue straight forward is usually a communication signal, while a lick to the side is typically in anticipation of food, because we often get those mixed up. So if the tongue is coming straight forward, it is a calming signal. If the tongue is going out to the side, it's usually in anticipation of them getting food. So when a dog is giving the calming signal, they are trying to avoid conflict. They're trying to calm down either themselves or other dogs or people. How many of you have ever been super stressed, really upset, and you've noticed that your dog is giving you calming signals, and it's just they're trying to diffuse the situation? Lip licking is, it means they're uncomfortable, they're stressed, they're anxious. And what we need to do as the owner or as the person who is responsible for them is to look for what could be causing them stress. Could it be another dog? Could it be a person who is just too close to them? Could it be the situation? It might be experience. It could be somebody trying to hug them, which is typically a child, but not always. It could be a kiss. It could be a noise. It could be anything really that is stressing them out, but we need to recognize that they are stressing. People also, I mentioned this before, people also use calming signals without even realizing it. When we're stressed or uncomfortable, we might try and calm ourselves, and some of us do it unconsciously. We might chew our lips. We might fiddle with our hair or fiddle with our nails. We might look away. We could tap our feet, bounce our knees. I'd work with somebody and his knees never stop going, or his toes are always tapping. Those are just calming signals. Okay, next one is a video that shows a little girl. She is sitting on the floor with a dog. She is making the dog extremely uncomfortable. There is obviously an adult present because you see their hands go in the camera frame and out again. The dog does turn and nip at the girl. I don't believe he makes contact, but if seeing that is going to bother you, please, please, please turn your back and we'll let you know when the video is done. I don't know if you guys can hear me or not, but look at the calming signals coming from this dog. Lip licking. Whale eye. Lip licking. Avoidance. Let me out of here. Malcolm, is there sound?
Dá um sorriso, Amanda.
And there we go.
Okay. Do you want to quickly debrief what we saw in that video?
Yeah, again, I was talking all the way through it. So all my important things I just said to myself. So it breaks my heart to see that dog being put into that position. He's not being given any respect whatsoever. It starts with the whale eye and the lip licking, and the girl keeps grabbing him around the neck and pulling him back to her. He's turning his head away from her. He's trying to get away. And then the ultimate is when the adult pushes that dog down. So it's lying on its side. And now they're taking away that ability to flee, that ability to get rid of it, to get away from it. And it looked to me like perhaps all they were doing was trying to get a picture. All they wanted to do was get a cute picture of the girl with the dog, forgetting that the dog has some, I don't mean to sound hokey, but has some rights also, and was really being treated unfairly. So let me know what you guys saw in that. And if you weren't watching, you can turn around now. It's over. I don't think he makes contact. I really think he just scares her.
So we do have a few more slides to go through. I just want to keep us on track for time. So we have 15 minutes left. So I'm just going to get back to the slides, but let's try and keep the next ones a bit more short.
It's such a huge topic.
I know it's very dense.
Yeah. So I do want you to take a look at this. And if you're going to screenshot, this is a really good one to screenshot. Look at the body language. So there's your defensive, aggressive dog. There's a dog that's trying to make himself as small as he possibly can. And you can see all around, they've got the different things to be watching for. So ears are back, tail is tucked, body has been shifted back. Versus if you don't leave that defensive dog, you're going to get the offensive, right? If you continue to push that dog when it's in that defensive mode, you're going to get that dog turning offensive. And now look at the complete difference. Now you've got a dog who's saying, okay, you're not going to leave me alone. I'm going to take over the situation, and I'm going to make myself as big as possible. I'm going to start to vocalize. I'm going to growl. I'm going to curl my lip. My tail is up. And now my weight has come forward. So from the defensive, I actually am shifting my body as I talk about this, from the dog being back, ready to lunge forward into that offensive position. That's how quickly it happens, my friends. It happens super, super quickly. If you continue to push that defensive, aggressive dog, they're going to turn offensive, and this is where the bites are going to happen. Okay.
So is the defensive aggression, would this be a scared dog, or is this already an aggressive dog? This is a dog who's probably gone through all of those calming signals and has already displayed all of the tendencies that you see in a scared, stressed dog. And no one was taking heed of it, so they went into a defensive stance. And that defensive stance is, okay, I can't get away from you. So think of the dog on the lap of the girl. I can't get away from you, so I'm going to make myself as small as possible, so maybe you'll forget about me and leave. Oh, no, you're not. You're going to continue. Okay, now I'm going into an offensive. Okay. So they've already gone through all of those anxious stages that we see. Got it.
I love that you ask questions, Malcolm. Okay, this one, I'm gonna explain it to you. It is a morning show with an anchor person whose name is Kyle. And she was doing an interview with 2 firefighters and a dog that they had rescued the day before. The dog had been in the water and he was rescued the day before. Now, there is a bite. We don't see it, but I can tell you that it was a really serious bite. But Kyle, the news person, took full responsibility for it, which was wonderful because you know what everyone's reaction is. The dog must die. And in this case, she took responsibility for it. So again, if you don't want to watch, please just turn your chair around and we'll let you know when it's finished.
When I heard he was coming on, I was so happy. I just adore dogs, but I'm especially happy to meet you after your story yesterday. He's a Mastiff, right?
He's a Dogo Argentine.
Oh, okay.
So he's an Argentinian Mastiff.
Okay,
yes.
Okay. You're gorgeous. You're gorgeous. Oh, I'm so glad you're okay. You too.
Thank you.
Too. Thank goodness for you.
Yeah.
Gosh, have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Happy Valentine's Day. Oh my God. Gary, yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Okay, if you weren't watching, come on back, folks. It actually turned out to be an extremely serious bite. He just about took a lip off. And how many times does he have to say to them, leave me alone? You've got one firefighter who's doing ear tugs, and you've got the anchor person, Kyle, who never takes her hands off, and she just keeps getting closer and closer and closer. And she didn't notice the lip licking, and she didn't notice the whale eye, and she didn't notice that this poor little dog who is in an unfamiliar place, and you can imagine how scary a television studio must be. He's not with his owners, he's with 2 firefighters, and they won't leave him alone. And she leans in to get a kiss, and that's when he just snaps. That's the end of it. I'm curious if there are any comments about that particular video. I know we don't have a lot of time, so
Yeah, just a quick comment from Tony, and just asking, why would you put your face in a dog's face when they don't know you and you don't know them?
Exactly. And this is one of the reasons why I was so pleased that she admitted that it was completely her responsibility. But if you Google her, you will see a scar from the top lip, and it curls all the way down to the bottom lip. Like, it was a good bite. But, you know, the dog told them over and over again. Okay. Next slide, sir.
Yeah, I also want to point out, like, as an inexperienced dog behavior, body language connoisseur, I wasn't really able to read what you saw, Susan.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I think, like, this conversation is so valuable, especially for, like, when you're just getting into dog training or dog grooming or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like, not knowing this information, I would not have picked up on that.
But you know what? Malcolm, even if you only learn to recognize a couple of the calming signals that the dogs are giving, then you are already ahead of the game.
Yeah.
Because so many people don't recognize them, and they continue to push and push and push. Okay, same dog. Compare the two.
Yeah, if you guys want to let us know in the chat what you see from the left to the right image, what kind of differences you're picking up on here.
And remember, we always want to be looking at eyes, ears, muzzle, overall body posture. Obviously, we can't see the body, so now you're just looking at the face.
And to all those who are looking to get the presentation, we'll be sure to share that with you guys in the virtual community. So if you haven't joined yet, I'll be giving out the link to join. But I'll share all these photos with you guys. Okay, so we have some comments here. So Trish says offensive and defensive.
Good.
Scared, aggressive.
Yeah.
Looks uncomfortable and angry. His ears are back. His nose is down. Narrowing of the eyes. Yeah, that's a good one. Ears are back and a hard stare.
Yeah, that's a hard stare. That's a scary stare. One of the things that I want you to notice, and I wish I could use like a cursor, my cursor to show you. So go to the nose leather where it splits, and then it goes down to the mouth. So when you're looking at the calmer version of this dog, you can see that it drops down in a particular angle, at a particular angle. Look at it when he is really ticked off, right? That almost disappears. That part of the muzzle, as I do it on myself, almost disappears back because of the wrinkling. That nose is wrinkled. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, Darty pointed out his nostrils are even flared, which is, it's super subtle, but yes, it does appear.
Yeah, and we have the luxury right now of looking at it in a still frame. You know, so you have to be able to recognize these quickly, really quickly, so that you can say, no, I'm sorry, you can't leave the dog here. I just don't think he's in the frame of mind to be groomed or what have you. Yeah. Okay, next one. The next one is a chart that shows escalation. Here's another one. Do a screenshot. So I can't.
For those who can't screenshot, just by the way, I'll share these photos in the virtual classroom.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. Okay, so we've got down at the very bottom the dog who is going to be yawning, who's going to be lip licking, and it's going to escalate where you're still okay. You're just starting to show some stress. You're turning your head away. Now you're turning your body away, lifting paws, creeping, ears back. We're continuing to go up the scale. Now we've got a tucked tail. Now we've got a crouched body. Now we're starting to get a stare. Dog lies down, may bring the leg up. Dog starts to stiffen, growl, snaps, bites. That is a really good chart for you to keep in mind.
Yeah.
Okay, I know we're going really super fast, guys, but there are only 2 more videos that I really, really, really want you to see. So this next one has been taken from, I don't remember the original length, I want to say maybe about 2 minutes long, and it has been chopped down tremendously. It shows a dog groomer's salon. Those of you who are in the dog grooming program, some of the things that you're going to see, Oh, you know what? There's no sound with this, Malcolm. So can I
We can talk out loud here. Yeah.
Okay. So before you even hit play, you can see that the dog that's on the table and the head is going up and down is because he's barking. Take a look at the table. It's a round grooming table. The noose, the bar that goes over the table extends past the grooming table, past the edge of the grooming table, so that the noose is actually already taut around the dog's neck. I assume that there is a collar, an Elizabethan collar put on the dog because of stress. Maybe he tried to bite or what have you. Folks, if you have the opportunity to set up your own grooming salon, please, please, please try and put the dogs who are not being groomed into another section, into another room, because you can see the one right behind is pacing back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. The scenario of this was at the end, Malcolm?
Yeah, are you still able to see it on your end, Susan?
No, I can only see that guy walking a dog and...
Oh, there's a video playing right now? Okay, hold on, let me end this here. For some reason there's a weird video playback situation.
Okay, so you could see how stressed the dog was, and I am going to tell you that the groomer left the room. You don't. And I know you guys know that. You just don't. The dog. Am I okay to share this, Malcolm, or am I going to get fired?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So the dog starts to stress. He's vocalizing. He ends up pacing on that little round table, and he falls off. And he is strangled. And she eventually comes back into the room. She is in the groomer. She picks him up. She puts him on the table. She gives him a few pokes to see if he's just going to suddenly wake up. She leaves the room again and returns with another person. There's no urgency to how they're moving. They just saunter, as far as I'm concerned, back into the room. They look at the dog, and a third person comes in who starts doing CPR. So you got to have your first aid, folks. And I don't care which area you're going into, you got to have your first aid. That should not have happened. That was just an accident waiting to happen. And I would be shocked if this grooming place is still even open, because there were just so many thou shalt not, thou shalt not. You know, from the improper equipment that was being used, to how stressed the dog was, to how stressed the dogs behind were, to the worker leaving. I think she was on her phone, if I'm not mistaken, and no one knowing how to help this poor little dog with some CPR. Okay, so sad. Oh my gosh. And to tell you the truth, I haven't been able to watch the whole thing myself. So we have one last video, and it's called Love. And you know who shortened it? Malcolm. Malcolm shortened it. And I told him I was going to throw him under the bus. It's the loved one. You can't shorten the loved one. But anyway, he did. So we
really don't have a lot of time. I want to answer some questions. So let's get playing. Okay, very cute.
Right.
All right.
Right.
Yeah.
Come on. Come on.
But we do have some quick questions that I'll try to get through. So one from Amy Birch. How do you change territorial behavior? My personal dog barks when people come inside my grooming salon, and it's really embarrassing. She's not being mean because she wants everyone to pet her. She's a 4-year-old golden doodle.
So she's in your shop with you, and she's becoming territorial, if I'm understanding that question.
Yeah, personal dog barks when people come inside their grooming salon.
Yeah, so she's taking that as an extension of her home. And when we were talking about territorial, they can claim territory over anything. That's kind of a question that we would need to get into a little bit more deeply. You're basically looking at desensitizing her. And until you can actually do that, you probably want to be able to keep her in a different area or in a different room or something.
Okay. Yeah. So maybe a topic for another day. Actually,
Yeah.
If
yeah.
It's enough about it, it could be very interesting.
Yeah. It's a lengthy topic when we start talking about counter conditioning and desensitizing.
Okay, last question from Bella Stokes. I have a dog that salivates excessively when I'm about to clip his toenails. Is that a stress sign?
Yeah.
It is a stress sign.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
And
not one that we see often in terms of stress, especially when you're doing their nails. But yeah, it's a stress sign for sure.
Okay. I have a question from Shannon. How do you prevent aggressive play from being transferred to other dogs for a dog that is not aggressive?
Aggressive play.
So how do you prevent aggressive play from being transferred to other dogs for a dog that is not aggressive? Is that question clear?
Yeah, I kind of get it. I'm really picky on who I allow my dogs to play with. And so I want to know the dog first and foremost. And so if I start to see that play is getting aggressive, yeah, it's going to escalate really quickly and you're going to end up with a dog fight. So my rule of thumb with my guys is you don't have to like every dog, but you have to tolerate them being there, because I work with so many dogs. I work with the police and all that, and they can't see that kind of behavior in my dog, snapping and snarling if they don't like the dog that is also being used. So for me, play is not a priority, especially if I don't know the temperament of the dog that my guys are going to be playing with. I'm very, very picky because I don't want that transferring over to my dog and have them, because they play rough already. Like my two play rough already. If you watch them, you would think they're ripping one another's heads off. Sorry, I know that's really a short, fast answer, but it's only because we're out of time.
That means we'll have more to talk about next for our next event, Susan. Okay, really quick before we wrap this up, I obviously want to thank you, Susan. There's so much to unpack here, but we only have an hour. So I just wanted to check in with everyone, make sure that you enjoyed the webinar and the courses that you're taking. I just shared with you a link to go and leave us a review. It would be really appreciated if you could take a couple of minutes after we're done just to leave a review on Google. It's really important for you guys to leave feedback. And for those that are not yet taking the course, it could kind of help those who are looking to do that, to pursue an education in the pet industry. So I would really appreciate it if you take your time just to leave a review, and that would be it. For those who joined us today, we're going to be sending you an email with 60% discount on the pet studies courses. That's because we think that it's important for you to kind of grow your portfolio. So if you're in pet grooming, it's really helpful to have pet training so that you have a better understanding of dog body language, for example, and vice versa. So yeah, just extending your portfolio. We do believe in our courses. That's why we want to offer students a 60% discount for joining us today.
Nice.
So you'll be getting that by email, and I hope everyone enjoyed it today. And a lot of people are saying thank you. So I want to say thank you guys for joining us.
Thanks for coming, guys.
Okay. Take care, everyone.
Night.